I'm Richard Clarke. Ramana Maharshi's teachings are deep and profound. Listen each day to deepen your practice. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 500, Part 3. Questioner. Until the seeker realizes that he is the sought, the above questions arise for him. The former. Maharshi. True. See if you are the seeker. The self is often mistaken for the knower. Is there not the self in deep sleep that is nescience? Therefore, the self is beyond knower and knowledge. These doubts are in the realm of mind. To speak from this point of view, the advice is to keep the mind clear, and when Rajas and Tamas are wiped off, then the sattva mind alone exists. So the I vanishes in the sattva anadadalkan. So long as there is a subject and also an object, it is only relative knowledge. Jnana lies beyond this relative knowledge. It is absolute. The self is the source of subject and object. Now, ignorance prevailing, the subject is taken to be the source. The subject is the knower and forms one of the triads whose components cannot exist independent of one another. So the subject or knower cannot be the ultimate reality. Reality lies beyond subject and object. When realized, there will be no room for doubt. In this dialogue, the questioner is grappling with the idea of being both the seeker and the sought. They ask about the nature of realization, wondering why questions they have still arise before they experience this truth. Sri Ramana Maharshi's response starts with a key insight. The confusion arises because the seeker is mistaken in their understanding of the self. Ramana points out that you must first question if you are truly the seeker. The self, which is your true essence, is often confused with the mental knower, the one who perceives and understands through the mind. Ramana uses the example of deep sleep to illustrate that the self is present even when the mind and its perceptions are not. In deep sleep, you have no awareness of being a knower, yet you still exist. This shows that the self is beyond the dualities of knower and knowledge. The doubts and questions that arise come from the mind, which operates on the level of duality and separation, but not from the self, which is not bound by these. Ramana goes on to explain that to clear the mind and directly experience this deeper truth, the mind's rajas, restlessness, and tamas, inertia, need to be wiped away. These qualities cloud the clarity of the mind and keep you tied to the idea of being a separate knower. When the mind is free of these distractions, only sattva, purity, calmness remains. In this state, the ego, the sense of I that sees itself as separate from everything else, dissolves. The Maharshi emphasizes that as long as there is a subject, the knower, and an object, what is known, knowledge is relative. True knowledge, or jnana, lies beyond this duality. The self, which is the source of both subject and object, is absolute and exists beyond the realm of the mind. In ignorance, you mistake the subject or the mental knower as the source of truth. But this knower is only one part of a triad of knowledge that depends on both the object and the act of knowing. Ramana Maharshi concludes that real freedom comes after you realize the self is beyond this duality. In this realization, all doubts disappear because the truth of the self is absolute and beyond the distinctions of subject, object, and knowledge. The realization that you are not the seeker but the sought revolves all questions. So know yourself and be always free and at peace. In 40 verses on reality, Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of the self, the ultimate reality, and self-inquiry. My new book, with my comments and inquiry questions, opens these teachings up and brings them into your practice and experience. Available now from Amazon. Link in the video description. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.